Steve White, Trek Boy 89 for Steve Arts 89. Well, we're up to Season 4, Episode 10, the final episode, Old Friends, New Planets, of Lower Decks. I was sort of surprised that there wasn't any sort of big thing that happened. They were just sort of winding up everything from the last episode. I was sort of expecting something new and big for the last episode, but they're really just finishing off the story. It really is like a 2-part final, and this is like the second half of it. So the most interesting thing, I think, was they had a flashback to 13 years ago where they showed that Mariner was in the Academy at the same time as the Nova Squadron members, and they had a cameo from Will Wheaton and the actress who played Sito, and they showed Boothby, and they're at the Academy, and they showed that Mariner was like a year or so under them, and she wasn't a part of the squadron, but she just knew Sito on that. So that was interesting. And then we go to Mariner on the ship with Locarno. She basically doesn't want to help him, and she steals the Ferengi Genesis device and runs off, basically, and then he's chasing her. Now, the rest of the crew, they end up getting a ship from Tinty's sister, but she has to promise to go back to Orion and take the place in her family that she sort of abandoned to be a part of Starfleet. And there's a chase scene through like a crystalline sort of landscape of sorts. And not much happens. Eventually, Nick confronts Mariner. She sets off the Genesis device, and he can't shut it down because, the Ferengis have it behind a paywall, and he doesn't happen to have latinum on him. So he dies. That's the end of that. And there's a new planet which they called Nikado. Now, I'm assuming the Genesis device that the Ferengis, made, I'm assuming they fixed the bugs in the first one, and the planet will actually not, rapidly evolve and blow up, but who knows? That might be the next season, who knows? I think the big thing about this episode is that Tindy ends up having to go back to Orion. But I mean, they kind of ruined her character because she was innocent as his interest, sort of innocent sort of character, and then it turns out that she's just a fake, and she really is this badass, like, mistress of this house in, the Orion and all that, and it's just she's pretending to be this innocent, sweet person when she's really not, and she's sort of lived this whole other life. So I think they kind of were trying to give her another side or an extra dimension or something, but they just sort of ruined what I think made the character sort of nice. But not much else happened. I mean, they won the ship from the sister by basically having a duel between some big Orion chick and Dr. Miglimo, who was picked because Tinty knew that the woman that he was fighting had like an allergy to feathers. So a few little things like that. I mean, there were jokes about the ships, like, and the carpet and all that sort of stuff, which is sort of low-hanging fruit. Nothing really great or interesting. I mean, Rutherford still has the rivalry with the other guy. I can't remember his name, and I don't like Rutherford having negative things. I like him just being nice all the time, so I don't really enjoy the whole rivalry between those two. What else happened? Nothing else really. It wasn't that interesting. I was really surprised. Like I said, they didn't have any big thing happen for the episode. It's just sort of winding things up. And we got to see what's his name? Boimler in charge, actually in the captain's chair for a moment. The captain got away with really no real, consequences for everything that happened, and everyone sort of seems to be living happily ever after. I'm sure Tindy will be back, like, pretty much in the next episode, or maybe they'll take an episode, have a story on Orion or something that then ends up bringing her back to the ship. I can't imagine she's going to be gone unless there's going to be something happening with Orion, and then she's going to be an ally within the Orion community. I don't know what's happening, but it's over. I'm kind of relieved that there's going to be no Star Trek for, I never thought I'd say that in my life, no Star Trek for a few more months, because Discovery, unless they push it forward because they can finish it without help from actors and writers, in which case, well, the writers are back but the actors are still on strike. If they could get it done sooner, they might, but it was supposed to be coming out right after this. I think it was supposed to continue on. That was sort of the idea, but I think they realised two things. One, they weren't going to be producing as much Star Trek shows in the future, so they don't need to have them running end to end. They can spread them out a bit more, and they needed to sort of fill a gap So they pushed Discovery Season 5, the final season, thank God, into 2024. So I don't have to worry about that for a few months. So it's going to be nice not to feel like I have to watch the episode to see what happens and then feel like I have to do a video to defend Star Trek against New Trek, which I feel an obligation to do as a Star Trek fan, as someone with some, integrity and who does not like what's happened to Star Trek and, respects art and, doesn't like to see it sort of mocked, and because that's all this show does. All it does is parody the existing, Star Trek, and it's because the people who watch it never really loved Star Trek. They just used to love laughing at it and looking at it that way. So they think that is fandom because, yep. Not going to get into that whole debate, but yeah, it's over. I don't have to worry about it again for a while. Kind of happy. So in that way, it was a great episode. I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.